Hello, this is MrChabry, and today what we're going to do is talk about the flying types that you can find in the Diamond and Pearl remakes. First off is Staraptor. This thing is an amazing Pokemon. First off, it has a 100 speed, meaning it's going to be outspeeding a lot of things. A 120 attack is amazing, so it's going to be able to do a lot of damage if you throw it out there. Plus, it has really good moveset. It can learn Brave Bird, Double Edge, Close Combat, U-Turn. Just amazing moves. Plus, its ability is Intimidate, so that's going to lower the attack output of your opponent. A 70 defense isn't much, but with an Intimidate, you could actually take hits. Staraptor is actually a Pokemon you can add to your team pretty early on. In the early routes, you can catch a Starly. So with all of this great things about Staraptor, it's not hard to see why Staraptor is one of the most used flying types on Diamond and Pearl teams. Next up is Crobat, and this is also another amazing flying type Pokemon. It is a dual poison flying type, which gives it a pretty cool stab that can hit fairy types pretty decently. Its best stat is a 130 speed, meaning it's going to be outspeeding pretty much everything you throw it out against. A 90 attack isn't the best, but this thing can actually do some work with that. Plus, this thing also has an 85 HP and 80 defenses, which gives it enough bulk to live a few hits. Crobat is another amazing Pokemon. If you're needing a flying type, Crobat can do the job. Next up is Gyarados, and this is also another amazing flying type Pokemon. This thing's a water flying type, meaning it is quite weak to electric moves. However, you should have some Pokemon on your team that can handle those electric Pokemon if you want to use Gyarados. This thing has a 125 attack, which is phenomenal, plus a 100 special defense with a 95 HP, meaning it's going to be able to take hits pretty decently. An 81 speed means it can actually outspeed quite a few things, and a 79 defense isn't the best. However, with Intimidate, this thing's going to be able to take hits pretty well. I do have to say, using it as a flying type, this thing does not have very many good flying type stab options. It's best used for its water typing. However, it could pull through if you're wanting to use it on your team. We're now going to talk about Mothim. And Mothim is actually not that great of a Pokemon. It is a bug flying type, meaning it's got quite a few weaknesses. Plus, its stats are not great at all. This thing has a 66 speed, which means it's very slow. And a 50 defense and special defense means it's not going to be taking very many hits. It does have a 94 attack and special attack, which is decent, and it does have a decent move pool with moves like Air Slash, Energy Ball, Bug Buzz, but this thing has so many things holding it back that I would not recommend you use a Mothim on your team. The problems that Mothim has, Beautifly also has. This thing is another bug flying type Pokemon, meaning it's got a lot of weaknesses. A 100 special attack is pretty good, but 65 speed means you're not going to be hitting things because you're so slow, and 50 defenses meaning you're not going to be living very many hits. So Beautifly is another one of those Pokemon that probably isn't going to help you out much. Vespa Quinn is another bug flying type Pokemon, meaning this thing has a lot of weaknesses. However, this thing does have a few things that makes it better than Mothim and Beautifly. A 102 defense and special defense means it's actually got some good bulk. An 80 attack and special attack is decent, it's not the best. A 40 speed means it's very slow, but for Trick Room teams, this thing could actually be pretty cool to use. However, this thing probably wouldn't do much for your team, but it is probably better than Mothim and Beautifly. Next up is Blim, and this is actually a pretty cool Pokemon. It is a Ghost Flying type, which gives it a cool typing, and its best stat is a 150 HP. That means it could actually take a few hits, however its defenses are so low that it might not actually help it out in the long run. A 90 special attack means it can do some decent work, and an 80 speed means it could outspeed a few things. However, this Pokemon is pretty challenging to use looking at its stats, but it is a cool Pokemon nonetheless. So now we're looking at Haunch Crow, and this is another really cool Pokemon. It has a 125 attack, meaning it's able to do a lot of damage, plus a 105 special attack, meaning you can actually do some damage on the special side as well. A 100 HP is good, however it's got only 52 defense and special defense, meaning it's not going to be living very many things, and a 71 speed is on the little bit lower side. However, this thing can actually learn Sucker Punch, which can give you the jump on your opponent. And with that 125 attack plus Dark type stab, Sucker Punch can actually do a lot of damage from this Haunch Crow. So I do like Haunch Crow. I think it is a cool Pokemon. It is kind of challenging to use as your in-game flying type, but it is a cool Pokemon. So Chatot is actually a very gimmicky Pokemon. In Gen 4, the only gimmick that this thing was really known for was its move Chatter, which, if you didn't know, in Gen 4 you could use the microphone on the DS to change what your Chatot says for the attack. However, now that your Switch does not have a microphone, this thing really doesn't have anything that makes it stand out. 91 speed's okay, 92 special attack's pretty good too. However, this thing's very frail with 45 and 42 defense and special defense respectively, and a 76 HP. This thing is mainly a gimmicky bird Pokemon, and that's really the only thing it's known for. Now we're looking at Noctowl, and this thing has a 100 HP, which is pretty good, and a 96 special defense, which can actually give you some nice special bulk. However, a 50 defense is terrible, 70 speed means you're not outspeeding a lot of things, so Noctowl is a pretty challenging Pokemon to use on your in-game team. Now we look at Pelipper. This is a pretty decent Pokemon competitively, mainly for one thing, and that is its Drizzle hidden ability. However, for an in-game team, you might not have access to hidden abilities, so we're going to have to look at it that way. 100 defense is okay, but with the 60 HP, it's not really doing much for you. 70 special defense isn't great, especially with a 60 HP. A 95 special attack is decent, meaning it's going to actually be able to do some work. 65 speed, though, means it's very slow. So if you use it competitively with Drizzle, 95 special attack actually will help it out. But in-game team, it's going to be one of those challenging flying types to use on your team. Now we look at Mantine, another water flying type Pokemon. And I feel like this one is actually a better bulky water flying type if you're wanting a bulky Pokemon. A 140 special defense is amazing. This thing can take a lot of hits. Plus an 85 HP off of that special defense means it's a very, very bulky Pokemon. 70 defense isn't the greatest, and 80 special attack will do some decent work. A 70 speed is okay-ish, it's not the best. However, this thing is mainly used for that special defense. So if you need a good bulky water type, Mantine could actually help you out. Now we're going to be looking at the Pokemon added into the Platinum Dex. And the first one's going to be Rotom Fan. This is an electric flying type, giving it a pretty unique typing. This thing has 107 defense, 107 special defense, and a 105 special attack. So out of the Rotom forms, this one's probably the worst one, because first off, its ability doesn't even help it out, because it's already got the flying type, so having Levitate is just a redundancy. This thing does have decent stats, however, but if you're wanting to use a Rotom Pokemon, Rotom Fan's the worst, and there's actually better flying types out there for it. Now we're going to look at Gliscor, and this is an amazing flying type. This thing has 125 defense, which is amazing. A 95 attack means it can actually do some good damage. 95 speed means it can outspeed quite a few things. And it's got the ground flying type, which is a very unique typing to have. So Gliscor is an amazing flying type Pokemon if you want to use it on your team. So now we're going to talk about Altaria, and this thing is a dragon flying type Pokemon, which is actually pretty unique in the Sinnoh region. We have a 105 special defense stat and a 90 defense stat, meaning this thing's got some decent bulk to it. 80 speed stat means it can outspeed quite a few things. However, its special attack and its attack stat are both at 70, meaning it's not the best. However, if you want to use this for a more offensive Pokemon, you could give this thing Dragon Dance, which actually boosts speed and attack, making it where your Altaria can actually do some more work for your team. So with Dragon Dance, Altaria can actually hold its own on your team. So now we look at Togekiss, and this thing has a really unique typing, fairy flying type Pokemon. That is actually pretty cool, as there's not that many fairy types found within the Sinnoh region. This thing has amazing stats as well, a 120 special attack and a 115 special defense. These are really great stats. It can do quite a bit of damage with that special attack, and it can take a lot of special hits with that special defense stat. Plus an 85 HP with that special defense stat, it can actually take hits really well. A 95 defense isn't the best, but it can actually take hits on that side as well. 80 speed means it can outspeed quite a few things, not everything. But another thing that this thing is known for is its Serene Grace ability. So if you give it a move that causes flinching, like Air Slash, you have an increased chance of flinching out the opponent. So this thing could actually do a lot of work if you bring it in on Pokemon that are slower than you. So I think Togekiss is an amazing flying type Pokemon if you want to use the thing on your team. Now we look at Yoon Mega, and this is a bug flying type Pokemon, but it is a pretty unique flying bug type. This thing has a 116 special attack, which is really good. 95 speed means it can outspeed a few things, but the thing that this thing is most known for is actually its Tinted Lens ability. With that, if you use a move on a Pokemon that resists that move, it basically negates that resistance. It does double damage to Pokemon that resist the move that you went for. So that can actually come in handy in certain places in the game. So Yoon Mega actually can probably do some decent work on your team. However, the bug flying typing actually kind of holds it back. But other than that, if you're up to the challenge, you can take Yoon Mega on your journey. Now we look at one of the odder flying type Pokemon, and that's going to be Tropius. This thing almost looks like it shouldn't be able to fly, but it is a flying type, so it's going to be on this list. This thing has a 99 HP, which is actually its best stat. 83 defense, 87 special defense means it looks like it wants to be a bulkier Pokemon. However, those stats are just not enough to make it a good bulky Pokemon. This thing has really subpar attack stats at 68 attack, 72 special attack, and it is a really slow Pokemon with 51 speed. So there's a lot more flying types out there that probably would actually contribute better to your team than Tropius does. This thing's a very challenging Pokemon to use, and I probably wouldn't use it. There are actually very few not fully evolved Pokemon I would even bring up on this list. Scyther is one of them, and that's because its evolved form Scyther actually plays totally different than Scyther, and they actually have the same total base stat. So they're basically two different Pokemon that are connected through an evolution. So we're going to talk about Scyther separate from Scyther, and later we'll talk about Scyther separate from Scyther. This thing is a bug flying type Pokemon, which is normally a terrible thing for a Pokemon, but I feel like Scyther can actually overcome this drawback. It has a 110 attack, which is a really good attack stat, plus a 105 speed, meaning it's going to be able to outspeed quite a few things. It does have 80 defense and special defense, which isn't the best, but it could actually probably take a few hits. This thing could probably pull through on your team if you really, really wanted to use it. It could probably be pretty challenging with that typing. However, I feel like if there's a bug flying type Pokemon that could overcome its typing, it's probably going to be Scyther. And last up, we're going to be talking about a Pokemon that's actually not in the Sinnoh Dex, but it is a Gen 4 Pokemon, and that's going to be a Shaymin Sky form. Of course, you're not going to probably be able to use this on your in-game team, but I still want to talk about it because you might actually see it competitively. It probably will be in the Ubers tier if you see this thing popping up. This thing has crazy good stats. 127 speed means it's going to be outspeeding almost everything. 120 special attack means it's going to be able to hit things really hard. And even with a 103 attack, it can actually hit things on that. However, that 120 special attack is what you want to watch out for. 100 HP is pretty good too. However, 75 defenses don't really make it a bulky Pokemon, but it might actually take a few hits with that HP stat. The main thing this thing is known for is the Serene Grace ability. And with that special attack stat and that speed stat, this thing is really annoying with Air Slash. It can outspeed probably any Pokemon. It can flinch things out super easily and make battling very, very frustrating to certain people. So this Pokemon, you're not going to be able to use it in the in-game team, but if you see this thing in Ubers, just know it's going to be a very, very unfortunately irritating battle. And with that, we have seen all the flying type that you could add to your team in the Diamond Pearl remakes. Which Pokemon are you going to pick? If you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I will see you in the next Pokemon video.